Good morning. Starting a little early this morning because the sun is rising later and it squeezes my program and community schedule. So we're just ahead of the sunrise by a few minutes, I think. Here at the Sea of Galilee. It's a good place to be. Whatever place you are is a good place to be. It's the place Providence has you now. So there are certainly places we desire to be. But that shouldn't take away from our gratitude and readiness to be in the place where we are. Got these two little capers blooming here. They're all over the place, and there you have one of the ones that could be used for your salmon. So today we have a sailing story. It's not on the Sea of Galilee, it's at Jaffa. Oh, there's the sunrise right now. Yeah, it's exactly 6:45. Right over there, well, just a little bit north of where the sun is rising, and we can't see it very well because of the haze, is Hippos, where we were last night for the sunset. And maybe you saw that. There were a lot of people checked in there to see that post on Facebook. I did an Instagram reel but didn't get to post it yet. That's life. So what's interesting is from over there the sun was completely visible and above Mount Arbel here. Not this far south but a little bit further north from the perspective of Hippos. And here in Magdala we see the sun has disappeared every day now at 5 o'clock. That early. So it depends on your elevation how soon the sunset takes place. If you're higher up, you can see the sun for longer. And it was over an hour later for us over there at Hippos. We obviously weren't under the foothills of Arbel. Arbel was far away. And so the sun was setting over an hour later. Isn't that amazing how the colors are, you have to get them at a different angle. You can't get them in contralight. So today we have the story of Jonah and also the Good Samaritan. And in the Good Samaritan story, we have a priest and a Levite. And just like Jonah they switch sides of the road. They don't want to engage with the mission that Providence is putting before them right at that moment. They're kind of escapees, runaways. They're not ready to deal with the opportunity, with the moment, with the mission they have. And it's interesting how, the Bible is like that. It's not afraid to show us people who are religious who are not living up to the standard. Not afraid of shining light on these issues. These kind of people prefer to stay in the dark. And I said these kind of people, like I'm not included. And that's not really fair, because actually we all have moments of rebellion. I have moments of rebellion. Can have very different causes and motivations. Could be laziness, could be tiredness, fatigue, exhaustion. I just don't want to get involved. I don't feel connected. I don't feel that's my role, that's my duty. Maybe I don't like the people. I'm just too nicely dressed. I don't want to get dirty. Maybe there's a social stigma. If I get involved with those people, somebody outside my political group, my party, my theological alignment, and so this is good for us. It's good for us to, the book of Jonah and the story of the Good Samaritan are our stories. Jonah means a dove, Iona. We have the great Saint Columbanus, who give us a different image of a prophet, of going to speak for God, going to be a sign for God. But who knows if they didn't have struggles as well. Jeremiah had a very big struggle. And even Jesus himself in Gethsemane helps us to understand that to struggle with God's call and mission is reality. It's reality. I'm not sure if this is the same bird as yesterday. We got a very nice perch here right now. Wow, that was the best one we got. Oops, where are you gone? Good. I lost her quickly there because the camera was zoomed in, so she escaped the space of the lens very quickly. That was a nice shot there. There's so much beauty in nature. It's wonderful watching parents. I see them at Magdalene with their little children, or see them over at we go to swim over at the beach with teaching little children to notice, to see the beauty, to see the gift. And then our prayer in our heart is made to see the giver. Because behind every gift is a giver. And then you see parents saying to the little child, "Now what do you say now? Thank you." Very precious moment of development of heart and mind and soul toward other people who are kind, who affirm, who are supportive. Thank you. Thank you. Well, going back to Jonah, he runs away, and he runs away as far as he can go. He wants to get away from God, far away. He doesn't want to go to preach to Nineveh. Nineveh has been in the news very much the last 10 years. It's where Mosul is on the Tigris in Mesopotamia. So much suffering there in the last decade or more. And this city was not a friendly address for the Jewish people, and that God would send a prophet there to call them to repentance didn't fit in Jonah's agenda. He wasn't going to be party. Here we see a boat out there fishing, smaller than Jonah's boat by the implications of the account. I saw them earlier. They were very close to me, but it was too early to put them on because it was about 15 minutes before sunrise or so. They were close by. So maybe Jonah's motivation was the fact that they were a hostile people, people who had done hurt to him and his people. Maybe it was because it was too big a city. It took 3 days to grow. He was embarrassed, he was ashamed, felt inadequate for the mission. What are the excuses we have? So many times we feel a little nudge to be a voice, to express goodness, beauty, truth, to serve, and the priest and Levite walk on the other side of the road. So I think at this point what we need really in our hearts then is a prayer, right? A beautiful prayer that will help us to have a transformed heart, because mostly it's not the people that need to be transformed. It's first of all the prophet himself needs to be transformed. And every one of us, especially all those who are baptized and participating here, know that we are essentially sent out to be light in the world and salt of the earth. That's a mission, to make a difference. Salt is a very small volume on a steak or a plate of pasta, and yet it makes a lot of difference. So what's our prayer today? You will rescue my life from the pit. And the pit of selfishness, the pit of being closed to myself, the pit of indifference, the pit of rebellion. I think it's really a good connection there with Jesus in Gethsemane, because he's struggling with his mission. And the struggles he had also reflected in the temptations before his mission, public mission started after the baptism in the Jordan. Fasting and praying. So maybe that's what Jonah should have done in hindsight. He should have done what the people were asked to do. They were going to be asked to go on sackcloth and ashes and pray at Nineveh. And Jonah instead flees. He goes away to a faraway place, Tarshish. And the exegetes are not totally clear about where Tarshish is, but it has to be a place that's so far away, kind of outside the ends of the world, so God can't get involved with Jonah. Jonah can escape God's reach. And he goes into a deep sleep. He escapes God's reach. You know, it's part of the anti-culture of our times. The escapist substances that have people escape their pain. People might have very severe suffering and existential suffering, moral suffering, and maybe alcohol is grasped in order to provide escape. And the Lord is calling him up for a much deeper solution. He wants to give a much deeper blessing than alcohol can give. And then so many people also working with drugs. Here we got a purple heron. I wonder, will she fly? Or maybe it's a he, I don't know. Thank you for flying, purple heron. I think that gives us a nice moment to close this morning and an encouragement to boost. Let's fly and accomplish the great mission we have today in our families, in our home. The acts of kindness, get our hands dirty, see somebody in need, especially somebody we don't like. Somebody we say it's good they got their comeuppance. No, let's go and help them. God bless you. See you later, alligators.